am amazing.
Good.
So I'm excited to have the director.
Robert John
I
Connor.
knew I was gonna have it all backwards. Cause you got like 3 first names.
Well, you know, John Connor is from the Terminator, so a lot of people say John Connor, but it's Robert John Connor.
Okay. So anybody just say RJC?
RJC, that's what they call me all the time.
Really? See, that's the easiest thing. And you have your 2 beautiful cast members here from the new play Dreamgirls.
Correct.
You
correct.
just never stop creating, recreating, and being in action, do you?
Well, my wife says I don't settle down, and I said I'll rest when I die. But here's the thing. You know, God has given us all different gifts, and I think we need to operate in those gifts as long as we can, at the best we can. And so I'm honored to have this new show for Dominion Entertainment to be able to produce Dreamgirls with these exceptionally talented people. It is a star-studded cast, not saying that they're the most famous, they have certain notoriety and fame, but in regards to just the caliber of talent, we just had a rehearsal last night and it was just bananas. Just
Really?
the collection of artists that are there excited about bringing the show to Atlanta.
Now, do you guys rehearse at the actual theater?
No, we have a separate rehearsal space,
Okay.
and then we load into the theater starting Sunday.
Starting Sunday. So how is that for you guys? We did a play before, and I was part of the PR team, but every day, I was like, these rehearsals. And I wasn't even in the play. Maybe it would have been different if I was in the play, because then I would have been like, yay, these rehearsals. But I was like, another night, like, how is it?
So the rehearsals are long, but it takes that amount of work to come together and see all the pieces come together. I mean, there's the acting part, there's this staging part, there's dancing, there's so many elements and so many pieces to this to bring it all together. So there are long nights, but it's worth it because when that show comes together, like you said, last night was amazing to see, to just be standing there and doing our lines with the music, and it was just like, wow, like we really have a show. So it's going to be phenomenal, but you got to put that work into it.
Oh
to
yeah,
make it.
absolutely.
And then you have different people with different personalities and all that stuff. So I mean, but like you said, the cast is amazing, and we're bringing this thing together, and it's going to be good.
So when you got the phone call, Tony, to be a part of this, how did you feel? Like, what was going through your mind when they presented it to you, your talent manager, like the opportunity?
I think I had lots of different feelings. Of course, I was excited about it. I've actually known Mr. Connor for a long, long time, but I think this is our first time actually having a chance to work together. We talked about working together many times, so but this is our first time, and so I was nervous, excited, all in one. Nervous because this is a Dreamgirls. This can kind of be a daunting, task.
Oh yeah.
It's a real
Musical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is different. I've done lots of theater before, but this is a different style of theater that I knew would elevate me just on my skill level. I knew it would be a challenge. I was super excited about it. So I was nervous and excited.
So it was no doubt in your mind that
all we had to do was figure it out. I mean, thankfully God has been good in this. And there was a lot of stuff going on,
right?
And we were just working it out to see if we could do it. And once we figured it out, it was like, yeah, I'm in, please.
And so Tony's not talking about the divine part of it. Right?
I knew it was a divine piece to it.
No, really, because the divine part was when I said, "Who is my Curtis?
Oh, wow.
Who's Curtis Taylor Jr. for me?"
Yes.
I said, "It's Tony Hightower."
Are you
I
serious?
said, Tony is Curtis to me, right? His swag, his style, his demeanor, all of that. You know what I'm saying? He's a ladies' man. He's charismatic.
Okay.
And
Curtis.
so, but the first thing I said to myself is that I said, he's way too busy. We're not going to be able to get him. I'm seeing him gigging all around. He's doing a great job with his jazz career. I'm not going to get him. I had already convinced myself.
Now, why are you trying to do
Before
that?
calling him, because my humanity tried to get in the way of the divinity
Okay,
of my
okay.
life. And so then he was in the back of my mind, and one of the cast members, people we had already cast, and said, "You know who would be a good Curtis?" And I said, "Who?" They said, "Tony Hightower." And I said, "You know, that's funny because he's always been my Curtis." And I said, I dissuaded myself of calling him, and I called him, and he was just so humble and excited. And yes, we've known each other. I've known him since he was a young man because I used to work with his incredibly talented mother, you know, and so I think all things are coming full circle.
Yes.
This is another person that we've been trying to work together, and so this is that project where the roads are meeting, and the experience is going to be phenomenal.
And
I
the
love
singing
it.
in this play, I mean,
I love a good singing play.
let me tell you something.
Ooh,
Well,
get ready,
you
then.
get ready. Straight. Get ready.
You're not going to
Some
find.
plays you go to and they have singing, but then you like
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
another. Ooh, if she sing one more song,
No,
like,
no.
like
No,
I
it's gonna-
could.
you're gonna say if she sing. You're gonna say if she sing one more song, but you say I need her to sing
Sing
one
more
more
song.
Exactly.
because
Because it's
he's
nothing
right.
like leaving a play feeling uplifted
Ooh.
and just it just gives you a whole different power element. People don't understand like why people go to plays, and the people who don't understand have never been to plays. Because once you go and you get that feeling, then that's why you're gonna get in your little Sunday's best, even if it's on a Saturday, and go to the play and just get ready to get filled. So, how is that the theater, like, you know, you're not in a booth, it's not like, you know, when you have rehearsal, you don't feed off of a live audience doing rehearsal. And most singers, they're so comfortable in that booth. So when you got on that stage for rehearsals and just with everybody around you, did you feel like, when you hear this person sing, like, okay, I gotta just keep up my game? How are you? What are those thoughts that go through your head?
Well, you know, for me, it's the opposite. I always say I'm a live singer better than I am a booth singer.
Okay.
I grew up singing live music. I'm from DC, so I did go-go music every night. I was in a go-go band, and then I did a lot of live singing with my family. I mean, just being on the porch. I say, if somebody can write my life story, they would know, like, I come from a singing family. I was just telling them, I've been around music all my life. My first stages was my porch. My family would be like, get out there and sing. So they were my first audience. So
Yes.
I had that live feeling. But being around singers that can blow, like, different textures, different tones, it doesn't make me think like, ooh, it make me say like, yes.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm
Like
saying?
a gumbo. It's like a whole gumbo.
I can't not just revert back to last night. Like, everybody had their phones out. Like, I was just so in awe with everybody's voice.
I'm coming to rehearsal.
Listen, rehearsal is.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, it's amazing. But as far as the element piece of us not having the cut, and this is a real musical, like you think about there, you get nervous and anxious, but it kind of get us on point because we don't have that. Okay, cut.
Right.
Okay, let's run that back.
It's
When
go
it's
time.
showtime, it's showtime and it's go time. So we just gotta be in it.
Yes.
And do what we rehearsed day in and day out.
Now, how
and
does
present
one-
on the stage.
How does one mentally prepare for that? Is it the whole theatrical thing? Like, are you at home in this character in mode, like just mentally to stay there?
Lots of people do different things. I know for me, it's been I've been finding how I want to be Curtis, or how I am Curtis.
Right. Because you are Curtis.
Well, okay, I'll take that.
You're going to have to learn how to be Tony again after the play.
But I mean, you know, one is like the preparation when you can, because I know once you got the lines and then you know them, that's the first part.
Yeah.
It's like really getting that. Then you can kind of live in it. And I know for myself, I'm still getting there. Like, we're closer, but I'm still getting there. And once it's in my body, then I can relax and figure out the different tones and inflections I want to make.
And have fun.
And then just have fun.
Right.
You know, so for me, because I'm sure lots of people do it different ways.
Yes.
But once I can get that in my body, then like you said, I can have fun. I found my voice, you know, because, you know, he's not condescending. He's assured. And then once he gets the money, once he gets success, he is kind of, you know, high on his horse.
Smelling
You know.
Okay.
You know, your grandma say you smelling yourself.
Yes.
You do what I
yeah.
tell you.
Yeah,
That's
you
his
do what I
favorite
tell you.
line.
Okay.
You do what I tell you.
Right.
But, you know, I think the show speaks to a lot of things. right?
It does.
And so these people are people we know. These are people we've met. You know, I think to me, all of the characters and all of the actors that are playing the characters are vital to the story. But I think at the core of it, it's about Effie.
Yes.
And it's about a woman who doesn't fit the mold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many black women walk into spaces and places and they don't fit the mold.
Yeah.
And this
Hello,
is a way
big girl.
of this is a way of affirming black women in so many ways, especially people like Effie, especially Rubenesque women, especially women who have a little grit and a little texture and confidence.
Yes.
That how they often are mischaracterized as things that they're not.
Yes.
And at the core of who Effie is that she's a woman who wants to be loved just like anybody else.
Yeah.
In truth, you know. So it's interesting to watch that journey, and I think the way that they framed the show around Effie, that there's a redemption in the show that affirms every woman who ever has felt pushed aside to say, you stay true to you.
Yes.
Because what is for you will be for you. And so that's why back in the 80s when I was a high school kid and this musical came out, I must have run the grooves off this record because, one, I had never heard someone sing with such grit. And
yeah.
so as we were beginning to cast this show, my team was like, well,
who got that grit?
who's your Effie? I said, I didn't know who Effie is. I said, because when I saw her on Sunday Best in 2009, I was like, I don't know who she is, but because I love singers. Right?
Yes.
And so I said, this one, I said, one day, we are going to work together.
Wow.
And so here we are, you know, more than 10 years later, we're working together, and it's become such a great experience for the whole cast.
Yes.
Not just these two people.
Oh man.
Laurel, the girl who's playing Laurel, Amitra Finney, phenomenal.
Yeah.
The girl who's playing Dina, her name is Keandra Richardson.
Okay, we need to round them up.
Listen.
Look, every day,
Yeah.
because the week before we don't have that much time, and this runs live too on the Roku streaming channel.
Okay.
But every night it would be good if we just had the new one, like the countdown, and had
If I let them out of
more
rehearsal.
of it. Oh, that's right. That's rehearsal.
Yeah.
rehearsal.
I'm like, I turn. You gotta do the show.
So let me ask you, did you have a different mindset? You know, it's one thing to be an audience member and watch the play. It's another thing when we all saw Dreamgirls on TV. And everyone, they did an amazing job, the casting there. But now that you are tasked with the responsibility of filling all these roles, did it make you look at everything differently?
No, the movie did, and I appreciated the movie. I think they did an exceptional job. I think the cinematography was great, and they, you know, put this story together well, and they added some nice new songs. We're not putting those songs in. We're honoring the original musical because that was solid, right? The musical material from the original musical is great.
Yes.
And when I do theater, I want to honor theater. I don't necessarily want to try to put a film on stage.
Yes.
And so we're honoring the original story and the original songs and many of the original costumes.
Oh, wow.
And,
How did you work that out for the original costumes?
well, we have a costume designer, and you know, you get them, and we look at. Now they're not exactly, but I'm saying
Yeah,
we're honoring
I
that,
get it.
that style, and because you
I
know.
would have never thought about that piece. See, that's
costume.
why. Yeah, I would have never thought, like, let's go back with all of it and just
The
bring it
costumes
current.
are a whole
nother-
state in its
Yeah.
own.
I'll say this,
Woo.
like what you're saying, what you wouldn't think about.
Yeah.
Like now being a part of this, I knew about Dreamgirls and I saw the movie, but you know, I can't say that I'm one that's like avid and knowing like
Right.
lots of musicals and whatnot.
Yeah.
But coming into this, I mean, the respect I have for it now, seeing how the pieces, how this song then goes to this song and this dialogue, and how it's interwoven, like it's like they did a masterful job on this show.
Storytelling.
And it tells itself. You don't have to do anything. You know, there's some directors that are just like, say the lines.
Right.
Like, don't do anything extra, because if you just say the lines, do that, it's gonna tell the story.
Yeah.
So you have a
So it's
deeper
great.
respect
Oh yeah.
Way
for
more.
everything.
Yeah, way more.
Yes.
Not that I didn't have it before, but it
Yeah,
just makes
no,
you
I get
appreciate it
it.
even more.
Deep.
Yeah,
Right.
once you're in it, like it just opens up your eyes. Like wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love everything about the whole Dreamgirls thing. And I think growing up, I think I was in Los Angeles. I was born and raised there. But I'm trying to think, Avenue of the Stars is where they have the plays. And when I was a little girl, I can appreciate my parents taking me to see Annie and taking me to plays. Because that's something, most people in South Central LA are not just carting their kids down the Avenue of the Stars to see that. But the exposure, it really makes a difference in a child's life and their dreams and ambitions, because they need to see what else is out there in the world. So that's what I do love with it. It all goes back to Effie being this girl who has all this talent, because how many Effies do you know that nobody knows about? And they have all this talent, and because maybe they don't fit that marketing profile or something you could just pitch, like they're just gonna be her. But this lets you see you don't have to just be that. If you have that drive, you can do whatever you want. So you talked about the Dina.
Deandra Richardson.
Yes.
She is just a gem. Here's another, I'm going to work with her one day story. I saw her, she starred as Whitney Houston in another musical called Born for This.
Yes.
And I was like, who is this young girl? Just a quality of voice that is just pure and sweet and just rings out. I said, I have no idea who this girl is. And I happened to go to, after the show, to have dinner with them. And I told her, I said, young lady, one day I'm going to work with you. And so whenever we announced we were doing Dreamgirls,
Wow.
through her people, it was like, hey, we think that this might be the
And I
project.
remember that time.
Yeah, but she's also, been on Empire, and she plays the daughter of Yolanda Adams on Kingdom Business.
Yes.
So she's building a great career in film and theater.
Yes.
But most importantly, she's just an exceptional artist who's smart and great to work with. And that's the other thing. The room energy is really good. There's this, you get into rooms and you work in spaces and the energy's not always
Right.
good. And so that's, I think, the momentum that people like her and other people in the room bring to make this a more enjoyable experience. Because trying to produce theater is not...
Oh yeah,
what
not
they
for
say,
the faint or the weak at heart.
No, you gotta
There's
get
a lot of moving parts,
Oh, yeah.
and it's the attitudes of just one person. It's like that one molded lemon in a batch of lemons. You're like, wait a minute, I smell something, but you don't see it.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, and it's messing with the rest of the lemons. And that's the way it is when you have that one person. So when everybody is in sync, I can only imagine. But we know Mr. Connor is not working with anybody to have it any other way.
Right.
He's not tolerating that. He will give you a little walking papers, okay?
And it's not even about that. I just am at a point in my career that I've had enough experiences that I want these experiences in this chapter of my life to be the best, and that's not in respect to person.
Oh, yeah.
I think we owe it to ourselves to create the atmosphere. When God places you in a position of leadership, you also then are the governor of that atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you cannot hold yourself hostage to talent, because talent comes and goes. You will meet a variety of talents.
Right.
But you have to be the governor of the atmosphere so that the other people in the room can learn and grow. Because no matter how talented you are, if you're not prepared to learn and grow every time you walk into an experience, you're done with, you're cooked. The bird is cooked.
Yeah.
But these people are coming in, these actors are coming in with a spirit of, I'm still trying to learn. Yes, everybody knows who Y'Anna Crawley is, but she's come in so humble and so gracious, and her work ethic is impeccable. This gentleman is coming in with the willingness to learn and tell me what I need to do. Oh, and he's so open to feedback, and that's refreshing in this business, because
Yes.
people garner a certain level of success and they get jaded. They
Yes.
believe their height,
Right.
But we're only as big as our last check.
Hello.
So
That's what the writer said. they
too.
said we bigger than our last check.
Yeah. So
Exactly. You have to really, believe
you
that.
have to take control of your circumstances, or you'll you'll make it available to energies that are not conducive to the outcomes for the people that you respect. And I respect all these people. But
Yes.
outside of the room, I would go see him sing, and I would go see her sing, and I would buy her record. And that's another thing that we need to do.
Yes.
We need to do, for no reason at all, go out and support
Each
artists,
other, yes,
you know.
especially artists.
Yeah, because
it
we-
takes a lot
It takes a lot.
of tenacity to be an artist.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
just in the whole, and now the streaming game has helped, but if you don't have that team to understand how
We
you
just
can
talked
get those
about
streaming
that. Just talked about
dollars,
that,
then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
does the streaming help? But they got some serious streaming teams
Oh, yeah.
out here.
We literally
And
just
you don't
talked-
even have to be famous now to,
Yeah.
to make money as an
Yeah,
artist.
absolutely.
And just the fact that you have this gift to sing, and you're like, how do I turn this into a career? And all the family members and the people around you, they're like, oh, you never gonna make no money off doing that. Like, they don't see the big picture, okay? And you see, oh yeah, she can do it, that's me. All we see is the big picture,
Right.
and just to keep someone pouring into you all the time.
But they're not supposed to see it.
Right.
Right? You have to understand that some people are just consumers. Right?
True.
They have a consumer mindset. They just want to know what the next thing is, and they're not going to have that same lens. Like these are anointed, gifted people, and when you're given that anointing of a gift, you're also equally yoked with the responsibility.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so they're not going to see it. And so that's why people have to trust in their gift and not in what other people say. Right?
That is
Because
so
there's
true.
always going to be somebody who ain't going to like your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But God didn't give it to them, He gave it to you.
Yeah.
Right? If Prince worried about if this segment of our society didn't like his music,
Oh.
would he be Prince? No. He's
No.
going to be Prince no matter whether you like him or not, because he is confident in his gift.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. That is so bad.
Hollywood is calling.
Oh, no, he's going to answer the phone. Hey, this is Quincy Jones.
It's either Quincy
Something to tell you
Jones
about
or his
Okay.
mama. He's like, oh, we're gonna talk about that later. So I do this thing, it's called Speak Your Truth.
Oh.
And what I would like, and I'm gonna start with Mr. Connor.
Oh, God.
Because he always like to think and resonate and be intentional. But what is a fun fact that is the truth about you that not too many people know?
Wow. I used to have hair. No. What is a fun fact about me that I used to be a model?
Really?
Yeah, there was a magazine that came out years ago called Ebony Man Magazine.
Yes.
And I was in college at the time, and they were doing a photo shoot near my college campus, and I was just walking from class to class. And I used to have a very black, pronounced beard. I always just keep it well trimmed, and I had black hair. And I walked past, and the gentleman stopped me, and he said, "Hey, and I've always been a large guy. He's like, have you considered modeling?" I was like, no. So he said, well, if you ever think about it, he said, give me a call. He said, you have a strong look, like that. And I was like, so I called my mom. I was like, this guy, he gave me his card, and I looked at it. I was like, okay. And so I took some pictures, and I said, well, I'll just follow up. And I appeared in about 4 magazines, Ebony Man magazines back in the day.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
I can see that. So you always were a bearded man.
Listen, since birth, came out.
So I went to an event and I didn't realize, and it was called the Bearded Gents. It was in New York, and they were promoting hair stuff.
Products for your beard.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that it's disrespectful to like walk up to a man and just touch his
Oh, yeah.
beard.
Oh, yeah.
Because I always see you like, oh, I love your beard. And so the guys were just like, and people come up and you don't know where their hands been. And I was like, I never thought of that. Like, I apologize.
Right, it's a natural
Is
instinct
it
if you admire something.
annoying? Or you didn't mind?
Well, I think it's more annoying to my wife. For me,
She's like, don't do
she's like boundaries, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a natural instinct. But yeah, it was a great opportunity. I enjoyed it, and the beard got me some, some publicity. And
Okay.
so, no, most people probably wouldn't think that.
Next.
Well,
Y'Anna.
a fun fact about me, a lot of people don't know, I want to be a comedian. And so I have this book, and God gives me jokes. But here's the thing. And I write them down. And I have a lot of them, right? But here's the thing. The kind of comedy I want to do is like Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Okay.
So my mouth can get a little potty. So
Okay.
I have that altar. So I said when I turn a certain age, you know how they say babies and old people, this,
Yeah,
oh,
you
don't
just don't
mind
let
them.
it
No.
happen.
So I'm going to wait till I get a little gray age on me when they say, yeah, she got enough Jesus in her to give her a pass. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I want to do stand-up comedy.
I love that. I love that. So on Sunday nights, all of this goes away. There is a live jazz band. There are jazz performers and musicians that very famous from all over. And this is they have the live audience. That table goes in the hallway, turns into a full bar, and they live stream their whole set.
What's
That's
that?
what they call it.
Oh, you said it's
set.
a fusion of
Yes.
artists. Oh, okay, I'm going to have
And
to
then
come.
sometimes singers come in and grace the stage, and it's called the tiny stage
Tiny
instead of the tiny desk.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, so
And you
it's
said
just
what day?
on Sunday night.
Sunday
And
night.
they have catered dinner. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's Sunday. Let me go get some dinner for the family.
Right, I hear that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. so
Let's not forget about Tony. I want to know what
Y'all know we about to get to Tony. I had to take a break because I see he was still putting it
Yeah, I'm
together
trying to think
of
about
all the secrets that, speak your truth.
I don't know. Fun facts. I mean, it's a couple of things. I'm a Gemini, so I'm all over the place.
Right.
I don't take myself seriously at all. I think for whatever reason, I've been casting in this certain type of role every time. But I really want to, it's funny what you say, I really want to do some comedy.
Really?
I want to do some comedy. Like, I would love to be in a sitcom. I feel like I'm funny.
Are you funny or people just laugh at you?
No. I get it a lot of times. Like, like when people really get to know me and when I can get comfortable, I'm like, man, you a fool. And I enjoy being silly. My mom was really, really silly. So I'm super silly. And I watch sitcoms. I watch for certain things. I think I understand comedic acting. I would love the opportunity to do it.
Okay.
So that's one fun fact. I love roller skate. I'm into martial arts.
I did see you over there doing something, and I was like, what is he doing? I know, look, in rehearsal he get down and do his push-ups and stuff, so he got everybody doing push-ups.
Right.
But I saw you over there kind of doing something. I was like, is this a ninja over here?
And they were like, it is an English.
Not yet. We working it.
Okay.
Nice. So that's good to know because sometimes, the audience, they have no idea. Like you say, when they see you acting, you're doing certain roles, and they're like, okay, we need hot guy, black guy. They just say, you know how the breakdowns look when they just break it down. And sometimes they're like, not too attractive. And you're like, really? Do you want to call somebody like, okay, they have this role and it's for someone that's not too attractive? How do they not take that personal?
But the reality is, and I tell actors this all the time, you're just a blank slate.
Yeah.
Right? How you style yourself or how you personally keep up yourself. Like, think about Viola Davis, right? She says that she loves doing the stuff that she can just get downright ugly with.
Yes.
Because that's where you really get to play. And in our just natural selves, we are beautiful, but it's based on the world vision of us.
Yes.
Right? And so, I would love to play any role that was counter to that because then I really get to
playing it.
play.
Right, exactly.
Right. I love that too. That's the beauty of being an actor And my mom, she did not like the acting thing. She's like, that's the devil. She's like, anybody who can become somebody else and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no, it's acting. It's an art.
It's imagination.
It's imagination.
And I think those are all the things that the Lord gave us. He gave us a healthy imagination.
So many
Gave
talents.
us emotions. Like, you know, if we did not have an imagination, how would you build the pyramids?
Right.
How would you build structures? Because you need your imagination. That's the catalyst to those.
Right.
Creativity is the imagination.
And that's what takes me back to what I said. When the kids are younger, you have to show them things and show them, you know, things that they could do. Because sometimes if you're in a certain neighborhoods and just stuck, you don't know that it's just a whole nother world out there. My favorite thing is I love to get on a plane and land in another state, and it's just like a whole nother world going on.
Yeah.
And then I come back to Wakanda. My safe place is here in Atlanta, but I just love how we can just go somewhere like just 1 hour away, you know, and we could be over there in Montego Bay. Like, what? In this islands, you don't, okay, time to go back to reality, you know. But I'm like, why can't this be my reality? Why can't I just go looking for a husband? It's a problem.
Oh, okay.
So now we're taking a turn. So that's why you went.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming today. Like, it was such a pleasure and an honor. And I knew Mr. Connor, he always, like, when he's into it because this man has seen every musical and play and things I've never even heard of. And he's just like, yeah, and he takes it all in, but to just be able to not just take it in and not sit there and wish I could be a part of that. He's like, oh no, okay, next project. You know, how did this land in your lap? Last question.
Okay, so my company, Dominion Entertainment, is about 10 years old, and it really manifested in a conversation with friends because we as black theater makers, black actors, black producers know that the industry is not necessarily designed for us.
Right. For us by us, it's not for us by
And
us.
so I was dumb enough to say, hey, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to produce plays and concerts and musicals and stuff. I ain't have no money, you know, but I was hard-headed enough to try, right? And so 10 years later, you know, we have grown to the point where we can produce major musicals and get major acts into the fold. But this play was just something we were trying to do right around the pandemic. And one of my producing partners, we were strategizing about it, and then the world shut down.
Right.
But I wasn't willing to give up on the idea because I felt like Atlanta would be a great place. And for me, showcasing talent that's based here in Atlanta, there's this idea that you got to go to New York and LA to find talent. And some of the most talented people I know are in Atlanta.
Right here.
And though we know this is the Hollywood of the South, there's a lot of other things, music scene, cultural scene, theater scene, that I think we still need to keep honing. And theater is the last bastion of like that real tactile experience between an audience and its life changes, as you said earlier.
Yes.
And so when we got the clearance, they got the rights to do it, we just started chopping down trees and trying to make room. And we're a week out. We open on June 15th.
Yes.
Wow.
And we close on July 2nd. And we have about 15 opportunities for audience members to come. We have an easy website link, dreamgirlsatl.org.
Okay.
If they want to get tickets, they can go. Y'all can go get y'all tickets.
Go now.
Go get your tickets now.
Dreamgirlsatl.org.
Yes.
They are in store for a treat. And I don't say that from a producing standpoint
Right.
because we came in, we started talking about last night's rehearsal.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
So all I'm saying,
Y'all still was like on the high from last night.
we are still.
Yes.
It's still. You know, the thing
I'm coming
about
tonight.
the thing about creativity is when you're in the room, it's like air. It's
Yeah.
like your life's blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so to be a creative person in the room with creative persons and it's congealing, it's great.
Yes, I can only imagine.
You're absolutely
What was the first spot you did your play? Like you said, you didn't have any money, but you like, I'm gonna do this. Where did the first play take place? In the park?
I did it at a high school.
At a high school, okay.
I rented a high school auditorium, and I was only able to pay people $400.
Okay. That's still
And-
good.
No, well,
I
not
mean,
today's
back
society,
then.
but back then, no, you know what
Years
it
ago
was?
for a new actor, like,
Listen.
because ain't it $100 a day sometimes? Like,
Well, no, you have to factor in a lot of time and talent, and I really do respect
oh, you meant for the whole, like, rehearsals and everything, the whole
thing.
not daily.
the whole thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So-
that's different.
But
I
listen,
thought even a day.
but listen, some of those people from back then that were loyal to me, I'm able to pay them
Right.
now
Yeah.
what I could, and so the gratitude I have for their loyalty, and they believed in my vision.
Yes,
Right,
that
and you
makes
don't
everything.
always have people that trust your vision, and so all the people between then and now that have helped move Dominion along, I am so grateful for, because I've only tried as an artist myself.
Yes.
I always am very sensitive to that, right? I'm very sensitive that, you know, people out here trying to make a living, they got bills to pay just like anybody else.
Yes.
But also, these are creators too. He has albums he produces, she has music she writes and produces. And so when we're trying to get a passion project up, we need that kind of support from our friends and our local artists to get us to that point.
Yes.
So we can then not only pay it forward, but pay it back.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So everyone go out there and get the tickets. I'm gonna make sure I put some of these clips on social media
Please.
and everything else. I'm gonna be there.
Cool, baby.
Okay.
Come on.
We're looking for you.
Yeah.
Come on.
And if I find a way to slide into a rehearsal,
She's serious about it.
Let me call my security guy.
Just be prepared to laugh and
Cry.
dance and cry
Oh, man.
and your heart be penetrated. Your
y'all
thoughts.
need to get Paul Milliken down at the rehearsal with Fox 5.
No, I know Paul. We waiting on him. Let's see.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I get his camera guy. He's a friend of mine
Yeah.
through working, you know, Paul, and I'm like, lamb chops. You know, the way it's to Paul is through his stomach.
Some lamb chops. Okay.
Okay.
No taking.
Tell him that you have a
As soon
chef
as I leave
for
her, I'm going to text.
yeah, tell him you gonna have a chef for you a nice little meal so he can watch rehearsal, and he will be scampering down there. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Do you
for
want to
having
give out your social media handles?
Oh, I can. So I'm Y'Anna Crawley. You can
Okay.
find me on IG, Facebook, all platforms as Y'Anna Soul Sings, because my soul sing. YANNA SOULSINGS.
Okay.
And the same thing. You can find me on all platforms. My name is at the Tony Hightower. No, it was not pretentious. Somebody had my name, and I had to put something in front of it. So
You can be the Tony Hightower.
Yeah,
That's
these Tony Hightower, brother.
That is fine. The Tony Hightower. That's
Yeah.
how we see it, you know,
At
in
the
big
Tony
lights.
Hightower.
That's right.
Exactly.
And if you don't mind, I'd love to plug. I have two records that I would love to plug.
Plug it.
My freshman record was it's called The New Standard, and the last record, my sophomore record, is called Legacy,
Okay.
and it's on all digital platforms.
Okay.
Check me out.
What is the new standard?
So I'm in my own artistry. I do straight ahead jazz. Well,
Okay.
it's a kind of, I mean, it's straight ahead, but it's kind of a mixture because I have background in R&B.
Okay.
So it's kind of like this fusion thing, but I'm kind of living like where Nat, Frank, and Al Jarreau meet.
Okay.
Okay, can I just say this too?
Yes,
So
please.
I'm scrolling and I scroll across something that he had his second album. I said, okay, well, let me see, right? I just kept going through the songs, like, good God Almighty. Just a great fusion of straight ahead jazz with a soulful voice.
Really?
So, right. So, yeah,
Thank you,
he's
sir.
he's honoring the framework of a Nat and all of those things, but he has his own thing. And it's got flavor and textures, and it does enhance, you know, those traditional jazz songs in ways that will meet a contemporary audience to, you know, hear his nice and soulful voice and his standard traditional jazz music. It's a great fusion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
I really
think
appreciate
you
it.
got
I sent you a text message.
A
You
new public
did, you
relations
did.
person.
Yeah, you should.
I screenshot. I said, "Jeez, hang on, Tony."
Thank you.
Got a new public relations representative over there, okay?
I hype.
Yes, that's what it's about.
I love it. I love
Speaking
it.
of hype, but we cannot go before.
Okay.
There's like we mentioned several of the cast members.
Yes.
But we got Brandon, who plays CC.
Yeah.
And then we got Lawrence Flowers. And let me tell you, man, this singing that's going on, man,
Yeah.
like what we were just talking about, just being inspired by the other singing.
Right.
Man, it's some singing going. Jimmy is
Lawrence
phenomenal.
Flowers is crazy.
What?
CC, yeah, Lawrence Flowers plays Jimmy.
And Lawrence Flowers is a very well-known gospel singer,
Yeah.
but has been doing theater for years as well, and that's great that he's able to do those two platforms. And Brandon J, he was one of the contestants on a television show called Songland.
Okay.
You know, and did an exceptional job. He's a director and music producer,
Vocal arranger and all that stuff.
and still has a love for theater. And so there's no slouches in the room.
Right, those slouches are all superstars. Everybody looked amazing and they sound amazing, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was looking at this little star-studded cast they have you all in this well, it's not a triangle, it's a rectangle because it's so big,
Right.
so it can't be a square.
Oh yeah. See, when I look at that from a producer standpoint, I just say budget.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do.
I'm like, look at this budget.
Yeah, but hey, you made it work.
They're worth it.
Yes.
And it's gonna be worth it to Atlanta to show up.
Oh yeah.
Show up.
And we need this. We need more comeback
Y'all need a
plays,
summer
more
show.
theater. We
Yeah,
need
man.
it. We need it.
It's
This
a
is
hot-
it. You got
Thank
it.
you.